Imagine this, your brand new team lead, a guy who'd been at the company for barely 10 months and somehow got promoted over 30 fully qualified people, stands in front of your entire team and calls you out like he's the king of the corporate world. He tells everyone you're not a team player because you refused to show up to his little after-hours drinking party. What he didn't know was that I had a nuclear bomb of state labor law in my back pocket, and the second I pressed the button, his entire fake empire collapsed. See, I'd been in this office long enough to know how things were supposed to work. Promotions were earned. Respect was earned. Leadership was earned. But that illusion shattered the day management promoted Evan, an entry-level, less than a year in zero leadership experience suck-up, who wasn't even eligible for the role under HR rules. When the announcement came out, the office didn't react with surprise. We reacted with insult. You could actually feel the morale snap like a brittle stick. And then the next day, Evan walked in like a man who had just been crowned emperor, wearing that puffed-up arrogance that only exists in people who know they didn't earn anything, but think they deserve everything. Within a week, he mutated from a harmless irritation into a full-blown tyrant. He micromanaged tasks he didn't understand, nitpicked details he couldn't explain, and asked people with 10 years more experience than him whether they were sure they understood their assignments. He called grown adults buddy and champ, like he was their camp counselor instead of their inexperienced supervisor. And the worst part, management noticed people weren't bonding with him, and instead of reconsidering the absurdity of his promotion, they told him to find ways to make people like him. That's when he birthed his masterpiece of corporate suffering, mandatory, but not mandatory monthly happy hours after work. Unpaid. Every month he strutted around the office delivering the same sleazy line. Attendance isn't technically required, but leadership will definitely notice who's a team player. And people panicked. Folks with kids scrambled for babysitters. People with long commutes rearranged their schedules. People working second jobs begged for shift changes, all to avoid looking like they weren't team players. Watching all of it unfold felt like watching a slow-motion avalanche, and Evan loved every second of it. But me, I said no politely, firmly every time. Evan did not like that. The day before the first happy hour, he visited my desk 3 separate times, hovering behind me like a passive-aggressive mosquito, delivering the same pitch with a tight smile that begged for obedience. "You coming tomorrow, right? Leadership appreciates involvement. You don't want to look like you're avoiding the team," I calmly said. "Nope, my time off is mine." The day of the event, he tried again. "You sure you can't make it, even for a drink?" I didn't turn around. "Nope, and I'm not required to. But have a good night." That one hit him. His face tensed, and he walked away with the posture of a man holding in a scream. The next morning, the office looked like a group therapy session. People dragged themselves to their desks pretending the night had been great, but you could see the exhaustion behind their eyes. At 10 a.m. during our stand-up meeting, Evan made the mistake that would destroy him. He started bragging about how amazing the event was, how leadership loved seeing the team bond, and how he was proud of the turnout. Then, with the confidence of a man begging for consequences, he turned, locked eyes with me in front of 30 people, and said, "Some people clearly don't care about being team players. Some people think they're too good to participate. But management notices." The room went so silent, you could hear the fluorescent lights buzzing. My pulse hammered in my ears. That wasn't just a public call-out, that was a threat. And in that moment, something inside me didn't snap. It clicked into perfect alignment. I walked back to my desk, opened a new email, and typed with surgical calm. I addressed it to the entire team. Subject: regarding after-work events. And in the friendliest tone imaginable, I wrote, "Hey all, someone asked me earlier about required after-work events, so I figured I'd share. State statute. XYZ says hourly employees cannot be required to attend unpaid activities outside scheduled work hours. So if you can't make the events, don't stress. You're fully within your rights. No accusations, no names, just law." I hit send, and the world shifted. Within seconds, the replies began rolling in: relief, gratitude, disbelief. One coworker literally emailed, "Thank you, I've been terrified of missing one." Another said, "I thought I was going to get written up." People were suddenly free, and Evan, He walked past my desk looking like a man being marched to the electric chair, pale, silent, stiff because he knew exactly what I'd done. His only weapon, fear, had been vaporized. The next month he tried hosting another happy hour. 2 people showed up, the same 2 sycophants who would follow him into a burning building if they thought a promotion was inside. Evan sat at the bar, staring at the door every few minutes, waiting for more people who never came. The month after that, same thing. And by the 3rd month, he didn't even try. His forced friendship kingdom had collapsed. Meanwhile, in the office, the mask fell off. People stopped laughing at his jokes, stopped entertaining his fake charm, stopped letting him hover behind their desks. Management noticed, too. They whispered about why his team bonding had died. Then one day, while pouring myself coffee, I overheard 2 managers talking. One said, "What happened to Evan's team outings?" The other sighed. Apparently, he tried to pressure people off the clock. Someone reported the statute. Nobody goes anymore. Not Simone. Everyone knew exactly who that slow, cold wave of justice that rolled over me. I still feel it. Because my revenge wasn't loud, it wasn't cruel. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't even personal. It was one calm email shared with 30 exhausted coworkers who deserved better. And that was enough to bring down an entire house of cards built on fake authority and fear. Evan never regained control. His reputation never recovered, and his power, the tiny amount he'd been clinging to, evaporated. That's the thing about people who abuse power. They forget it only works if people don't know their rights. And once you take that away, their whole world collapses. So if you've ever been pushed around by someone who only got their title by kissing the right asses, hit that like button. Subscribe if you believe in justice, and tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest fake authority you've ever seen someone try to pull? Because sometimes the most devastating revenge isn't fire, or fury, or chaos. Sometimes it's one sentence, one truth, one email that sets everyone free. And trust me, knowing your rights, that's the real power.